Thinking about buying a Mercedes with the M271 engine or already own one? Well, in the next few minutes I'm going to go through all the common issues with these engines and why you should keep an eye out on the ones that could cost you thousands to repair. That said, let's get into it, but don't forget to subscribe and share, help us grow, help us reach more people. Let's go. So the first big problem with these engines is actually the timing chain. It uses a single row timing chain that stretches over time, and the timing chain tensioner can't actually compensate for the amount of stretch, and what this causes is excessive sprocket wear, and the chain can actually jump, and this is the most common issue that costs people thousands of pounds to get repaired. So the key giveaways for this issue are a rattle on startup, poor idling, or just general poor running and a constant rattle. So the next key issue is just as common as they were on the M-oneeleven engine, which is this engine's predecessor. The camshaft actuator magnets can fail, and they will typically fail and generate a kind of light rattle tone, very similar to the camshaft but a little bit deeper. One thing that can also be confused with the camshaft magnet rattle is actually the camshaft sprockets themselves. So what can happen there is the actual adjuster inside the camshaft sprocket itself can wear out, and that shows itself as a deep rattly tone, and it sounds very hollow, echoed by this plastic cover. Basically, that again is linked to the buttery soft sprockets that Mercedes decided to use on this engine. Why? So, up next, oil leaks. Typically, camshaft adjusters leak. This is a problem that even existed on this engine's predecessor, the M-oneeleven. It only had an intake camshaft adjuster, but it always used to leak around that area. Along with that, we've got valve cover gasket leaks. Pretty common on any modern engine. This also uses a plastic valve cover, which doesn't help that. Along with that, you also have things like rear main oil leaks. They aren't as common, but they do occur. But again, that can happen on every engine. So these oil leaks, the camshaft adjusters, the valve cover gasket, not too expensive to fix. Rear main, quite pricey. Supercharger failure. Whilst this is not super common, it is common enough for the M65 supercharger to fail, and that happens in the form of the bearings failing, and that sounds like someone throwing a bag of marbles in there. So, whilst this doesn't happen quite often, it does normally mean replacement of the supercharger because it causes irreparable damage. That said, these superchargers are quite cheap to find used because of this issue, and because normally these engines don't make it to that higher mileage. But like I say, that's one of the lesser common issues. Right, so that said, it's worth noting that the later turbocharged versions of this engine were a little more refined. Mercedes did do technical updates to try and resolve some of the issues. You'll find most of the issues pertaining to the original supercharged variant of the M271, and later on Mercedes did refine them because they got fed up with fixing them under warranty. So, that said, just listen for the rattles, listen for odd noises. If you're going to look at one, make sure it idles right and it's not got the rev counter going up and down like that. It's all really easy to spot stuff. And that said, if you do own one and you're curious about what the noises that you're hearing every time you start it up, a deeper tone will be your camshaft adjuster sprockets, and a higher pitch tone will be your either timing chain. So that said, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe and share, and help us reach more people and help us grow. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.